What's good, everybody? This is Brant with CPC Bodybuilding, the home of men's classic physique. Today, we've got some coverage of the Tupelo Pro in men's classic physique. And today, I've got a special guest joining me. We've got IFBB Classic Pro Jay Yount, who is coming off of 2 rookie appearances here in the IFBB. He's your 2022 Junior Nationals champion. Jay, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate you having me, man. I'm excited to cover this show. There's a lot of great guys here. So,
of course, man. Thanks for taking the time. Really appreciate your time here. But yeah, like Jay said, we are going to be covering the Tupelo Pro and giving our picks. We're going to go through each guy in this lineup and give our thoughts on them, and then give our top 5 and pick our winner who's going to punch their ticket to the Olympia. So I will share my screen so y'all can see the lineup. But before we get going with the lineup, what I will do is make sure to give a shout out to Jay. This is his Instagram. Go give him a follow. He is JYount_ on Instagram, and make sure you use his codes and support him in his entrepreneurial endeavors. So big shout out to Jay for taking the time out to do this and cover the Tupelo Pro. So without further ado, we got the lineup right here. So the show is Saturday, August 12th, and this is going to be in Tupelo, Mississippi. Prejudging is going to be at 9 a.m. Central Time, finals at 4 p.m. Central Time. And we've got 19 guys in the lineup. So here is our full lineup. We've got Aaron Aramini from Canada, Anthony Barbera III from Philly, Chris Barnes out of Virginia, Jordan Carroll, Rodrigo Coelho, Miguel Dominguez, Tony Duong, Seth Goss, Kelvin Hindi, James Houston, Vince Krause, Vladimir Markov, Eduardo Oliveira, Melvin Feliciano Rivera, Daniel Sullivan, Jared Thompson, Andrew Wilson, Casey Wilson, and Roderick Winnick. That is your full Tupelo Pro lineup. Now we will start out with our first competitor. This is Aaron Aramini, and this is his first appearance this year. Last year, he took 7th at the Vancouver Pro, and we'll take a look at this shot. This was from 4 days out, which was yesterday, and we'll take a look at these check-ins. Jay, just taking a look at some of these shots right here. We got a nice little classic side try. What stands out to you about Aaron's physique?
for one, I mean, I right away noticed the conditioning is pretty sharp. So he's got like crazy lines through the obliques, pretty solid midsection. He's got lines all the way up to the femoris on his quads. So condition is solid, so that won't be a problem for him. I'm sure he'll know that even more into the show. So I really just like the condition. I'm a big condition guy anyway, so I think that's a part of classic physique too as well. Like we're always kind of the most peeled guys out there. So he's gonna have no problem there. And I just like all the lines that he has, all the little detail. It's super nice to see. So I'm excited for him.
Yeah, great detail. I think that definitely going to be one of the sharpest guys here. And then he is a very solid poser too. That's one thing to note here. So he does know how to present his physique on stage very well. He's known for that. The one big question here is just how he's going to stack up in terms of size. So I do think that if there is a lineup to come in a bit on the smaller side, not necessarily that size is the most important thing in classic, but I think he could probably sneak in to, that top 5 if he stacks up well and is potentially put some muscle on, because really size is the only thing that's held him back in the past. Condition and shape have always been there. So I think Aaron, very well could show to have his most impressive performance to date. So that's Aaron Aramini out of Canada.
Yeah, I can see him there too, for sure, with the condition and the posing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So our next competitor is Anthony Barbera III, who is an Olympian. So he appeared at last year's Olympia, won the Atlantic Coast Pro, Now, this is his freestyle posing from the Atlanta Pro, where he took second place behind Carlos Domar, slipped a little bit at the Chicago Pro outside of the top 5. And when we look at Barb's physique, Jay, what are some strengths of his that you notice?
Again, this is another dude that, I mean, I know for sure him. I've seen him over and over. I saw him at the Olympia last year too. So one thing for sure is like he comes peeled every single time. So he's just stupid peeled out of his mind. Conditioning's never a problem for this guy. And then another thing I just noticed is like right away his shape. His shape as he poses, very graceful. He has a very classic shape when he pulls that vacuum and stuff like that. So it accentuates that. So, and that he's got crazy glute lines, which is you don't see that too often. So that always gets him in that first call out. It's just like right away that conditioning. So he looked crazy. So I'm excited to see. Hopefully he comes in even better.
Yeah, I think we will see. So he and I have joked, kind of over the past year or two, he's like morphed. We had in early 2022, we had Barb's 1.0, who was getting, kind of in that 5 to 10 range in a lot of these shows. And when he started working with Sebastian, his coach, and started placing more in like that top 3, and then eventually winning a show, that was Barb's 2.0. And now he's got an increased weight cap because he's had to really suffer to make weight. We got Barb's 3.0 because he can actually bring a little bit of fullness now. He's apparently never been able to really bring true fullness to a show. So we might even see Barb's 3.0 this time around. And I'm looking forward to seeing if those, extra carbs and sodium and water are able to really create that extra bit of pop. So we might see something different from Barb's this week.
Sure, that's exciting, man.
Yeah, so that is Anthony Barbera the
Yeah,
third.
that condition.
Yeah. So next up, we got Chris Barnes, who made his last appearance at the Baltimore Masters Pro last year, where he won the 35 plus division in classic physique. And I'll be intrigued to see his improvements. I know he's been working quite a bit on his posing. And though his updates are kind of the vast majority of the time they're in hoodies or just like, just showing his lower half. I do think he has improved his quads. Like his quads look sharper to me. If you look, you can like see here in this Instagram photo, I think his quads look more dug out. And I mean, I know he's been spending lots and lots of time posing. So he even changed his name to I think his Instagram handle is Chris the Posing God Barnes. So he's been working on that stage presentation. I really hope to see, an improved physique because Chris is a big guy too. You can tell here he's definitely got a big frame and kind of an imposing structure. So I'll be intrigued to see what Chris brings to the stage. Next up, we got Jordan Carroll, who's making his pro debut. He won his pro card in Class D at NPC Nationals in 2021. And Jay, just looking at this front double and this back double, what do you notice about Jordan's physique?
For one, I mean, again, conditioning. So like you can tell right away that he's pretty peeled. So especially through the hamstrings too, that little detail, especially like those piano wires that he's got coming out, that's a really, something really great to have that's going to stand out to the judges. So that he's got the lines all the way through the quad up to the hip. That's another great line of detail. And just his shape overall is just, he's got a very pretty shape. So I really just like the shape and the detail, especially now. And his back's pretty thick as well. So he's got those little lines through the erectors too. So just really sharp with a great shape.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what Jordan brings to the stage, just given he's got the big structure and just a taller guy. Class D, like I said, is the biggest class in classic physique. So, your eyes are typically drawn to some of these taller guys too. So it'll be intriguing to see what a pro debut looks like here for Jordan Carroll. So next up, we have
Best of
probably
luck,
one of
man.
the best Masters pros in the league right now. This is Rodrigo Coelho out of Brazil, who won the Charlotte Masters Pro and the Chicago Masters Pro. And just looking at these photos from Tampa, Jay, what do you like about his physique?
Now, right away, I first kind of went straight to his quads and his legs. So he has like really great sweeps on him. He's got a lot of detail through there too as well. That shot's crazy, that most muscular. He's got a lot of detail through the chest, big delts, and he's just super sharp as far as conditioning goes. So I'd like to see him just a little bit fuller in the body to match like a little bit more of the leg separation and the thickness of his legs. But overall, he's got pretty much, kind of the full package just here and there that he can make, and he's very solid.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think you hit the nail on the head, just bringing that fullness in the upper body and could potentially improve upon his placings. So that is Rodrigo Coelho. Next up, we have another Masters Pro. Now, this guy won the Masters division at Atlanta. This is Miguel Dominguez, who I think probably his biggest strength is you'll see it right here, his quads. His quads are just huge. And you can see the lines, the teardrops, just very, very impressive in the lower body. Um, and I think Miguel is definitely one of the better Masters pros in the league, especially knowing that he took the win in Atlanta. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do, not only here in the Open Classic division, but also the Masters division. So that's Miguel Dominguez. Next up, we got a guy who's definitely in the running to win this show. Jay, I want your thoughts on him. This is Tony Duong, a 2022
Although he's got a
Olympian.
great, yeah,
So
he's
looking at his
awesome.
Olympia photos, what stands out
Love
to
his
you?
shape. His legs are huge, so that's one of the first things that draws me is just like how big and thick his legs are, especially his hamstrings, all that kind of stuff. He's got crazy arms as well and delts, and just the midsection is just very sharp abs, which not too many people can actually say that they have. So a lot of people, the vacuum and stuff like that, but he can actually hit down on his abs, which is super unique from a lot of people in class. So that that detail in his abs and that separation, along with the crazy, just classic golden era type of structure, is really pulling through, which it always does. He always comes in great.
Yeah, I really like Tony's physique, man. I think he's got great proportions, and I think density really carries him far because I think though he's not the
For
biggest
sure.
guy in the world, that density just gives him a little bit of extra pop, especially when you line him up next to somebody who might be a bit taller. I think the density really carries him far. So I'll be intrigued to see what Tony can do here. He's definitely going to be in my first call out, but we'll see where I have him in the predictions later. So next up, we got a guy who's a bit of a sleeper, in my opinion, making his pro debut. This is Seth Goss. And what we see here is from the Amateur Olympia last year, where he won the light heavyweight division and finished second in the overall. Jay, looking at this freestyle posing routine from prejudging, what are some things that stand out about Seth's physique?
So like what I just saw right there through that side chest was that separation in the hamstring and the quad, that deep line right there, along with the glute striations. So that's a really nice feature to have, which again, not too many people can actually bring that really deep out. So he's got that right there, great hanging on the hamstrings, and he's really sharp to the legs. He's got great legs as well. So I would just like to see him a little bit again, just a little bit more fullness on the upper body, just fill that out a little bit more to match the legs, just to have top bottom symmetry. But overall, he's got a great pack. Is this a was he doing open right here?
Yeah, this is light heavies.
Okay, so he's heavy. So he's coming in the classic debut, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
awesome to see,
I
man.
think he's got great structure. I think he'll fit right in Classic, and he's probably going to be one of the most peeled guys in this show. I think, especially in the lower body, like you mentioned, man, he's definitely going to be able to hang. Um, I'll be intrigued to see though, kind of
Oh
how
yeah.
much muscle he's put on, especially in. I think that back shot is really nice. I'll be intrigued to see if he's put more in kind of the
Mhm.
arms. I think the arms and the chest could use a little bit more size, but I mean, those are also body parts that are they don't take years and years to build up. You can put, size on the arms and the chest pretty easily. Be one thing if he's trying to put mass on his legs, that takes a bit, but
Yeah,
I think
it's gonna take a minute, but
I
he's got
think
everything there though, as far as the full package. So
absolutely, man. Seth is definitely an underrated guy here. So that's Seth Goss making his pro debut. Next up, we got Kelvin Hindi out of the UK. This is a guy who narrowly missed the Olympia last year, one of the best Masters pros in the league. The UK's very first classic physique pro. He's the guy on the left here. And he didn't do super well at Tampa last week simply because his peak got all messed up. It's a big fiasco with losing his luggage, accumulating stress and water and aldosterone and all that good stuff. So I think Kelvin's a guy who could sneak his way here into the top five. He's that good. He definitely had the ability to be in the top five in quite a few European shows last year. He took second place in I think 3 or 4 European shows last year alone. So just looking at Kelvin, some of the things that I think he really brings to the table are muscle maturity and just great structure. He's very balanced as well. Got a twisting rear double right
oh yeah,
there.
he is.
Doesn't have a whole lot of stage shots. Let me
That's
see
a
if
good
I
shot.
can. That's a nice shot from Walt Whitman or Will Whitman. Um, yeah, here's an ab and thigh. That back double is really
He's a big,
nice too.
oh for sure. He's got big legs. Just again, I mean, I'm sure you were saying, like you were saying, the peak was messed up with stress and accumulation and all that kind of stuff, which hurts. It's gonna hurt the physique in the long run. But if he can nail the peak and actually just bring a level of detail with this structure and shape and the size that he has, because he's a big dude in a big frame, I feel like the judges can actually like he'll draw their eyes and he'll draw their attention pretty quickly. So
Yeah, 100%, man. So that is Kelvin Hindi out of the UK. Next up, we have James Houston, who is a Masters Pro. Not a whole lot of stage shots on this page, but James is definitely one of those guys who has a very solid upper body. Um, I was just looking at some of his stage photos. Here's from 9 weeks out. You'll see that he's got really solid lats. I think his lats and probably his top line are his best features. Definitely not going to be coming in out of shape by any means if he looks this good at 9 weeks out.
oh, yeah, he looks ahead right there.
Yeah. No recent updates. This is from 2 weeks ago. You're only getting the upper half right here, but I think James Houston is a very solid Masters pro and looking forward to seeing him hit the stage. So next up we got Vince Krause, who is very capable of a first call out here. He didn't really do so well in Chicago. I know he wasn't quite as conditioned as he liked to be, but he did place top 10 in 2 shows last year that were deeper than this one, actually. So I really like this side shot right here. Jay, what do you think of this side chest?
I love this side chest, to be honest, right here. I mean, the biggest thing to see is like no gaps right there with that other arm that he's pushing the chest with. So he's filling in the gaps there, just makes him look even bigger. That super round delt, he's hitting the arms very well. And what stands out for me is the waist and then that tie in to those really hanging hamstrings. So that's a good shot. That's a great shot for him, actually.
Yeah, I think Vince is kind of underrated, man. Not a lot of people talking about him, but to me, I think he's very capable a first call out in this show. So that's Vince Krause. Next up, we got Vlad Markov, who is a Masters pro and will actually be competing in the Masters Olympia here in just under 3 weeks, I believe. Now, this is a cool little setup they had at the Vancouver Pro where they like put people on the spinning thing. Um, but Vlad took eighth
That's kind
place
of
at the
cool.
Tijuana
I would
Pro
lose.
last year. He took eighth at Tijuana last year in a relatively deep lineup. So, I mean, he's capable of a top 10 here. Definitely brings great detail. Here's him with Antoine Vaillant.
Mhm.
Let's see. Yeah. Jay, what do you think of this front double right here?
Let me see. It's not showing. Oh, there it is. Okay. Honestly, he can hit both. I like both of them. To be honest, man, he can hit down on that. I got crazy veins and details through the midsection. He got over, so he's beyond ready condition wise. I'm sure he'll be ready. But he's got some crazy detail. I like the way his quads are kind of sweeping out on those shots too as well. That kind of is tapering his look. So it's just that shot overall, just the front double is just a very balanced shot for him. So
Yeah, I really like Vlad's physique. So that's Vladimir Markov. Next up, we got a guy who hasn't been talked about that much, at least kind of within the USA circles. But I know in Brazil, he does get a decent amount of attention. Um, this is Eduardo Oliveira, who he's a taller guy, has great shape, as you can see here, as he's hitting a front double bicep. And he took top 10 at Texas State last year, which was a pretty solid show. Um, and I'll be intrigued to see if he put on any extra size. Jay, what do you think about his physique?
I mean, like you were saying already, like he's got some crazy shape. And I don't know if he's a taller guy. He just looks like a tall. He's got a really huge frame, so that's going to draw judges' attention right off the bat. And his legs are huge, man. So he's just got a really great taper with vacuum with that, just a really classic shape. So if he can bring that like really grainy, hard detail with that shape that he has, and then just structure alone, he's gonna be up there, I think.
Yeah, I agree, man. So that's Eduardo Oliveira. Next up, we got Melvin Feliciano, who is making his first appearance in about 2 years. So this was taken, these are like the only good full body shots I could find on his Instagram. This was right before he took 10th at Tampa in 2021. And, the first thing I noticed from these shots is I really like this front double. I think he's got great arms and delts. Those are his strengths in my mind. And, if he took 10th at that 2021 Tampa Pro, which had like, I think 4 Olympians in it, I think he's very capable of a top 10 here
Yeah.
as well. He's got very solid condition, the hardness. Um, you see the striations through the glutes, the pianoing of the hamstrings. Jay, what do you think of his physique?
Yeah, overall, he's got, I mean, really great detail. The glutes are peeled. So overall, just conditions there, and then I think he'll make a good showing. He looks really solid, to be honest, and the arms are crazy.
Yeah. Melvin Feliciano. Next up, we got Daniel Sullivan, who placed 10th at Savannah last year. This is his freestyle posing routine. And Daniel's definitely a taller guy, as you can kind of tell. Um, and taller guys tend to have a hard time filling out their frames. You can tell kind of by the upper body dominance. I think if he's improved his physique, which it's kind of hard to tell given that he doesn't have a whole lot of updates, he could be one of those guys who sneaks into the first call out. I like Daniel's physique. I think really it's just a matter of is he going to be a little bit sharper because he's got the vascularity, but you don't see a whole lot of separation in the muscles and the lines really digging through, at least in this video. So I'll be intrigued to see if he brought that up. But definitely one of those guys who has the capability to climb the ranks a little bit. And like I said, not a whole lot of recent updates here. I don't know how far this was. Yeah, this is progress stuff, but that is Daniel Sullivan. Next up, we got Jared Thompson, who took 8th at Tampa last week. This guy is a Mississippi native. Jay, when we look at some of these photos from a day ago, what are your impressions of Jared's physique?
Standout condition. That's like one of the first things that draws my attention. He's got those crazy veins going up from like the midsection all the way up to his chest. So that's how you can tell the dude's like beyond peeled. So he's got all those crazy veins, he's got the details through the legs as well. And I like this guy a lot, man. So I know he had a good showing at Tempo. So I think he could be a first call out guy for sure.
Yeah.
Crazy big hamstrings too as well.
Yeah, man. I think the graininess and the hardness is what really stands out for me. And he's shown that he can battle with Olympians too. He did that last year. So I think this is, I mean, I think Jared's gonna actually improve quite a bit from Tampa. So this is
Oh, for
Jared
sure.
Thompson. Next up, we got Andrew Wilson, who a lot of guys, have probably been sleeping on. He's a huge guy, absolutely massive, very tall guy. I think he's like 6'2", maybe 6'3", and he took
Golly.
third place at Boston in 2022. I think he also competed at New York this year. So here are some stage shots from New York. He didn't play super well, but I mean, looking at these photos, Jay, what do you think? What are his chances in this show?
Oh, I kind of lost you. I can't hear you.
Oh, okay, Jay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, I got you.
All right, cool. So so these are some shots from New York with Andrew here. So what are your impressions of his physique from these photos?
I really like the back shots, especially the way he poses as well. You can see that he's got really thick adductors. So they're obviously touching right there. So he's just, he's a big guy and he poses big as well. So that's just going to help him even more. So I like the way he hits all those shots. If he can come in just harder, and, I'm sure he's going to improve show to show anyway. So if he comes in just with more detail and a little bit more hardness and graininess, and then being a taller guy and being a really, very big muscled, bubbly guy, I could see him easily in first call out. He'll be a hard guy to miss up there.
Absolutely, man. That's Andrew Wilson. Next up, we got Casey Wilson. So he's making his classic pro debut. So this is from last week, I believe, the old kitchen check-ins. So he turned pro in men's physique at North Americans last year, though
So
he's competed in. So so North Americans on the left, men's physique pro debut on the right. I know he's done bodybuilding and classic in the past as an amateur, and he kind of just threw on the board shorts as like a last minute thing for North Americans last year, and he ended up turning pro in it, which
that's
is pretty cool. But just looking at Casey's physique, what are your impressions so far?
man, stupid small waist. So I could see how he went pro in men's physique as well, because that waist is itty bitty, man. He's got a crazy taper. And he pulls a great vacuum as well. He has a really pretty, classic shape too for even being a really tall, lengthy guy. So, and he looks like he filled out his frame pretty good too as well. He's not really like, it's harder for those taller guys to fill that out, but he looks like he's doing a great job of that as well already. So I'm excited to see him, in classic and take those board shorts off and show those crazy legs, man, because he's got some crazy quads on him.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I couldn't agree more. I think what stands out to me is just like that top line is just so crisp, man. Like the delts, the chest, the arms, just the fullness, and he just like has like really healthy, like proportionate looking muscle in my opinion. So I really like Casey's look, and being a
Everything
really
ties in
tall
there.
guy, that's only going to help him out even more. So that's Casey Wilson. And last guy in this lineup, I definitely want your take on him. This is the only guy without socials, but this is a guy who actually turned pro with you at
Yeah,
junior
I remember him.
nationals. So this is Rod Winnick. He turned pro in Class A. Jay, what are your thoughts on his physique, man?
Yeah, I remember him, man. We were talking backstage like right before the overall battle too, as well. He's a really nice guy, really cool guy. But he's got a really pretty shape, man. Like he's just got that very, especially how he hits that twisting kind of front double. He's just got a really nice shape. Everything ties in very well. Only thing I would say is just, get the new posing trunks. Those are those are the old school NPC ones. But yeah, man, he's a great guy. I remember him from junior nats. It was really fun battling up with him. But he's a shorter guy because he's class A, but he brings a lot of fullness. He brings a lot of roundness too as well. So if he can just match condition wise, I think he can actually have a really good showing, man. He can be like a dark horse.
Yeah, very, very impressive classic physique. And make sure you check out some new trunks, Rod, if you're watching.
Rock some chulas for this one.
Yeah. All right, so that's our full lineup, ladies and gentlemen. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, Jay and I are going to make our picks for our top five. Now, Jay, as the special guest, I'll give you the option. Would you like to go first or would you like me to go? We can also do an alternating style where we trade picks, fifth to first. So you could do fifth, I could do fifth, or we could just go one by one. It's up to you, man.
Yeah, we can. I like the alternating. Let's go back to back like that.
All right, cool.
But you can go first though.
Sounds good, man.
What's yours, man?
All right, so in fifth place, I've got Eduardo Oliveira out of Brazil. I really like his shape. His condition will definitely be there. He's a taller guy, just very classic structure, crisp lines, big legs, small waist, just what you look for in classic physique. So I've got Eduardo Oliveira in fifth place. Now here's the lineup.
Let's see. I'm actually gonna go with my boy Casey too. I'm gonna give him the fifth place spot. I just think the shape and the overall, the height is there, the structure's there, the shape, everything like that, and that tiny, tiny waist, man. Especially, sorry about my dog, but that tiny, tiny waist, man, is just that brings a level of freakiness that I think is hard to miss with that V taper. So plus he's a Texas guy, so I gotta rock with my Texas guys over here. So I'll give him the fifth place.
Yeah, Casey's awesome, man. I really hope he does well in his classic pro debut. So in fourth place, I've got Andrew Wilson. To me, this guy he's just flown under the radar this year. He took third at Boston in 2022, right behind Urs and Tony Duong. So he's shown that he can really step up to the plate and stand with some of the best. I think his big frame and his muscularity will carry him very far in this lineup, even if he doesn't bring his best. But I think we'll see an improved version from New York here. I think we'll probably see him at least 5 to 10% better. And I've got him in fourth place.
I think I'm actually gonna go with J Rod. So I'm gonna go with him for that fourth place spot.
Got J Rob. We got Jared Thompson.
I just think that the shape is there and just that nasty condition, man. I think he's gonna keep carrying him and have him beat a lot of people just through condition alone and the sharpness that he brings. So I'm gonna give him that fourth place nod.
All right. So Jared Thompson in fourth place for Jay. I've got him in third place. I think he's really stellar. I like him to perform very well here in his home state. And I think his graininess, the hardness of his muscle is really going to stand out in this lineup. Definitely going to be one of the more conditioned guys. And he's got a lot of muscle too, man. I think he's got a lot of muscle packed on that frame. And he's got that pop too. So I'm going to go Jared Thompson in third place.
So I'm gonna actually, for my third place, I'm gonna swap with you, and your fourth place is gonna be my third place. I just think if he can come in like with the condition that he needs, I just think the stats are there as far as getting third place at that Boston show, which was with Tony there as well. So if he can stack up really well against Tony, they obviously like his physique already. So if he's already made improvements and he just brings a little bit more hardness and detail, I think with all that muscle packed on that frame, I think I think he can stack up pretty well in that third place spot.
All right, so we got Andrew Wilson in third place for Jay. Now, this is where it gets fun, guys. We got first and second place. To me, this is two Olympians battling it out.
Sure.
I think that second place is going to go to Tony Duong. And I love Tony's physique. And I think this is going to be extremely, extremely close. I think Tony is very capable of winning the show. He's battled it out with the likes of Urs Kalachinsky. And I mean, personally, as a shorter guy, I really like Tony's physique because he just represents the shorter guy so well. He's got that density, the roundness, the fullness, and just beautiful structure to go with it. But I do think he's going to get beat by another Olympian.
I
Jay,
think I
who's
think
your second place finisher?
I think we probably got the same top two, just maybe interchangeable. But I'm gonna go with Barb's for second place.
All right.
I think he's a again an Olympian. He's proven he really never misses show to show. He comes in with stupid condition. He's got crazy classic shape, great posing, everything you want to see. Pretty symmetrical. And I think he's just going to get that added level of fullness with the weight bump up. If you were saying that he was kind of struggling to make that weight, I think with that little bit of time and that little bit more extra weight cap, I think he can bring a different level of pop. So I think we'll see a different version of him for sure, like you were saying. So we might see that 3.0 or 4.0 version you were saying. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, likewise, man. I've got Barb's winning. I think the edge is going to come with condition. I think that's really it. And I know the last show really lit a fire under him, and he's wanting to bring his best package yet. So I think it's going to be really, really close. A lot more close than people are anticipating. Like I could see this being a split decision here. I think it's going to be extremely close. So I do think Barb's will edge him out slightly, just due to I think probably just an edge in condition because as we know, condition is king in classic. So I got
Of course.
Barb's taking the dub.
So then that leaves me. I got Tony taking the dub, man. I just again like that shape is just very, very golden era classic to me. That full bubbly roundness of all his muscle bellies, stacked on that like kind of shorter frame is just crazy to me. So and then he's just got crazy legs, very symmetrical. He poses very well and I just really like his physique, man. He's a great guy as well. So I think I got Tony taking the dub here. And I mean, he did actually give Urs a run for his money when they did do that Boston show. It's a very, it was a really, really good top two showing, a good battle between them. So I think he'll get the nod.
All right. So Jay's got Tony Duong. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Those are our top five picks and our winners. Now, before we get out of here, just want to make sure again to thank my special guest, Jay Yount. Make sure you guys go give him a follow here on Instagram, JYount_, and also use his codes. And then correct me if I'm wrong here, man. You're getting into the YouTube game, right?
I am, yeah. I kind of just started maybe beginning of last month, maybe mid, something like that.
What's
So
your YouTube channel? Just search Jay Yount on YouTube.
yeah, I think just IFBB Pro Jayant or Jayant should pop up. So
Cool.
getting you into it, so just bear with me.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys want to see some good workouts and some good bodybuilding content, make sure you go subscribe to Jay's channel. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more classic stuff. And before we get out of here, Jay, do you want to give any shout outs, any special words for the people?
Honestly, man, I just want to say, so I want to shout out my sponsor, Meals by Jay. That's a meal prep company here in San Antonio. So I just want to shout them out for, keeping me fed. And I also want to just let everybody know on here that I do online coaching. If you're local to the San Antonio area, San Antonio, Texas area, I do in-person training as well. So online coaching, in-person training, and I do like custom training programs or workouts as well. So just send me a DM and we can get linked up like that. But appreciate everybody.
All right. So that is going to do it for us today, guys. Thanks for watching the Tupelo Pro preview. Again, thank you to my special guest, IFBB Classic Pro, Jay Yount. We'll catch you guys later. Make sure you keep it classic. See ya.
Have a good one.